Okay, we're going to take a look at converting a double sign to a single sign. So it looks like the problems that we just got through doing in the other video. And so a double sign is when you add a negative or where you subtract a negative. So for instance, if you here you have 7 plus a negative 5, you're adding a negative, that's a double sign. Here you're subtracting a negative, whoops. Here you're subtracting a negative, and so that's a double sign. We want to get rid of that. So let's take a look at adding a negative first and what that means. So when we add a negative, first of all, we're going to illustrate what that means. So in this box, we're going to have a certain amount. And what we're going to do is we're going to start out with 4, because the problem says 4 plus a negative 3. So we're going to start out with 4. And then we are going to add 3 negatives to this thing. And so we're going to change to green. And we're going to add 3 negatives. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. So you have 4 positives and 3 negatives. And so you could write it like that just right away. And so you see that you have, in the battle of the positive and negatives, there's more positive than negatives. So we know that the answer here is actually equal to 1. So really what we're doing is when we add a negative, we're really subtracting. So 4 minus 3 is 1. So let's take a look at an example, another example. So the 6 plus negative 10, adding a negative is the same as subtracting. We just showed that right here. So it's really 6 minus 10. And 6 minus 10, now this is the situation where we could write it like we did in the previous video and circle the two amounts. We have a positive 6 and we have a negative 10. So they're going in two different directions. So we have a battle of the positives and negatives. There's more negatives, so we know that the answer is going to be negative. And it's 10 minus 6. There's 4 more negatives than there are positives. And so that's how that works. We got rid of the double sign and then treated the problem like we did before. Now there's one more example. You have plus a minus 5. So we are going to change the double sign to a negative. So this problem really says minus 2 minus 5. So if we want to rewrite that, we can go minus 2 minus 5. And these signs are now going in the same direction. So there's not a fight between the positives and negatives. So we know that it's going to be negative because we're going negative twice. We're losing $2 and then losing $5. Lost 7 altogether. So we just add the 5 and the 2. Okay, so now let's take a look at subtracting a negative. Well, what does subtracting a negative mean? So we can find out where my pointer is. We're going to take another look at this box, and in this box we're going to start out with 4. And so I'm going to kind of make it a different way of doing 4, but we're going to put, okay, where's my pointer? There we are. We're going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 positives in here. And then we're going to, what we want to do is we're going to put some negatives in here. And so I'm going to put, where's my pointer? I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negatives. Well, we have 9 positives and we have 5 negatives. And that gives us a total of 4, which is our first number. So we have this, the value of this box right now is 4. Now, with this 4, we now want to subtract. We want to take away, or we want to remove 3 negatives. So to remove is to subtract. So we're going to, from this 4, we're going to remove 3 negatives. So let's remove this negative, and this negative, and this negative. So now what we have is we have 9 positives minus 2. We have 2 negatives. So 9 minus 2. So what we have now, the value of this box is changed to 7. So by taking out 3 negatives, it made it increase by 3. So if we say that if we subtract a negative, it's the same thing as adding. So 4 plus 3 is 7. So to remove 3 negatives is the same thing as adding 3. It's the same effect. If you look at it in terms, well, we'll look at that. Yeah, if we look at it in terms of opposites, if you remember what we looked at in class, if we have a number line here and you have 0 here, the opposite of 3 is a negative 3. The opposite of a negative 3 is 3. So if you take a look at this 4, then this means the 4 and then the opposite of the negative 3. Well, what's the opposite of a negative 3? It's 3. So we have 4 and the opposite of negative 3. So 4 plus 3 is 7. So that's another way to do it. Let's take a look at this problem. If we want to look at it as far as opposites go, you can go, oh man. So I got to find out where my pointer is here. So we have 6 minus a negative 10. And we say that the opposite of negative 10 is 10. So we have 6 and then the opposite of negative 10. So 6 plus 10. Or we could just look at this and say that to subtract a negative, is the same thing as adding. So it's really 6 plus 10, which is equal to 16. Okay, see if we have time to get one more problem in here. Negative 2 plus, where's my pointer? Okay, so to subtract a negative is the same thing as adding. So what you really have here is negative 2 plus 5. This does not belong there. Okay, so war of the plus and minus signs. So we have more positives than there are negatives, so it's going to be a positive answer. And there's 3 more. It's 5 minus 2. There's 3 more. So the answer is a positive 3. Then you don't need the 3, but that's just kind of to emphasize here. So there you go. That's how you deal with subtracting a negative and changing it to just a single sign, and that's how you work it out.